The 90s gave us some of the most memorable video games of all time. Let's hit the rewind button to some of the best classics that stole our hearts and ate up our allowance that decade. Remember when you could grind your way into glory or faceplant into epic fail? With Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, it's like learning to skateboard, but in your living room, minus the broken lamps and judgmental pets. You get to pick your favorite skate and unleash insane tricks that would make real skaters cringe, while also chasing down the ever-elusive 6 score. The game is like a highlight reel of skateboarding dreams. Just don't try to recreate a 900-degree spin in your living room. Who could forget the music? It's punk rock heaven, and you'll sometimes find yourself singing along as you crash through a level. The best part was the multiplayer mode, where we could compete in the ultimate game of skate. The winner? Whoever could pull off the craziest tricks without ending up in a heap on the floor. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater is a beautiful reminder of why we never became pro skaters. Speaking of wild rides, if you've ever played Sonic the Hedgehog, you know the roller coaster of emotions it can bring. The game's basic premise is simple: go fast, collect rings, and dodge spikes. But here's the thing, sometimes it feels like Sonic's speed is as much a curse as it is a blessing. One minute you're blasting through Green Hill Zone, feeling invincible, and the next you're grinding to a halt in Marble Zone, wondering why anyone thought lava and slow-moving platforms were a good combo. But then you hit Spring Yard Zone, and suddenly it's all about elevators and avoiding spiky balls. It's the kind of game where you remember the joy of discovering secret areas, but also the overwhelming disappointment of running out of lives just before the final boss. It's a roller coaster from start to finish, and despite the ups and downs, it's the nostalgia that kept us coming back for more. Our gaming lives took an interesting turn with Street Fighter. Brought into existence in 1987, it was the ultimate playground for button mashers and combo artists. When playing the game, you mash some buttons and hope you're pulling off something cool. The roster of characters included Ryu and Ken, among others, each with unique moves and abilities. One minute you're throwing a Hadouken, and the next you're getting a Shoryuken to the chin. The game has memorable stages like the classic martial arts dojo and the urban street setting, where you battle it out with punches, kicks, and special moves. While it's fun to challenge friends and the energy is infectious, the AI can be tough to beat, making you work for every victory. Whether you're playing at an arcade or on the classic console, Street Fighter is a timeless fighting game that set the standard for those that followed. Another timeless game which has a whole castle in our hearts is Final Fantasy. It's like a road trip with your weirdest friends, exciting and unpredictable. The game had you exploring vast landscapes and battling legendary creatures. One minute you're taking down a beast, and the next you're having an existential crisis over a plot twist. The characters in Final Fantasy are a quirky bunch, charged with saving the world, even if they can't find their keys half the time. Their backstories are deep, but sometimes they can be as confusing as assembling furniture without instructions. Also, the unforgettable oops moment when you finally defeat the ultimate boss, only to realize you forgot to save beforehand. This game requires a lot of patience with every battle, plot twist, and character, which leaves you craving just one more chapter. Just when you thought you'd seen it all, Donkey Kong 64 throws you into a world where bananas are currency and collecting is a way of life. You play as Donkey Kong and his band of merry Kongs. The game works by having you explore vast levels, solving puzzles, and finding more bananas than you'd think possible. And let's not forget the Frantic Factory. One minute you're soaring through a level, and the next you're stuck because you didn't switch to the right Kong to open a door. It's like they took every nightmare about machinery and turned it into a level. But admit it, you couldn't help but get excited when you collected a golden banana, even if you had to jump through flaming hoops to get it. When you're finished playing the game, you feel like you've climbed Mount Everest while wearing a gorilla suit. In the end, whether you love it or hate it, you'll always remember that classic banana-flavored adventure. From the world of bananas, we move to space with Doom. In this classic, you play as Doom Guy, a space marine who doesn't have the word break in his dictionary. You're sent to Mars, which sounds like a cool assignment, until you realize the place is crawling with demons and your neighbors are pinky-eating nightmares. You shoot, and don't ask too many questions about why these demons have teleportation technology. Sometimes you're lost in a maze of corridors, hunting for a key, and other times you find yourself boxing 3 pinkies because you ran out of ammo. The excitement when you finally find that secret passage, it's like winning a year's supply of free food. However, am I the only one who felt the bosses are a bit underwhelming, like they skipped boss day at Demon School or something? In Doom, you're not just a space marine, you're the last hope for humanity. So we grabbed our shotgun, revved up that chainsaw, and got ready to show those demons what happens when you mess with Earth's exterminator. Remember the video game that made every 90s kid suddenly interested in biology, especially if the species in question could shoot fire, fly, or evolve? Pokemon Red and Blue, the OGs of the Pokemon world. You set off on an adventure, capturing Pokemon, battling gym leaders, and which feels like stealing other kids' lunch money with your unbeatable team. Back then, all we needed to challenge the neighborhood was our loyal pet. The game is all about trading. If you had a link cable back in the day, you were basically a Pokemon broker, wheeling and dealing rare Pokemon like a Wall Street trader. But once you learn Surf and get a Gyarados or Charizard, it's game over for everyone else. Everyone remembers the Safari Zone, where you could throw rocks at Pokemon. Yeah, that was a thing. Pokemon Red and Blue are nostalgia in cartridge form, and if you can still hum the theme song, you know you've caught 'em all. The feels, that is. Speaking of theme songs, another video game with an iconic one was Super Mario World. This game is timeless, leaving you full of energy and always ready for an adventure. Yet, beneath its charming exterior is a game that will have you sweating more than Mario after a lava level. In the game, you run, jump, collect mushrooms, and try not to get roasted by Bowser's fireballs. You can soar through the sky with a cape, discover hidden exits, and ride Yoshi. But don't get me started on Yoshi, the little green adorable dinosaur who's great until he decides he's had enough and runs off a cliff. Additionally, the painful part of losing all your lives and getting sent back to a checkpoint 3 levels behind? Not cool. Who can forget the first fight with the cape, or the epic battle against Bowser? It's a game that will leave you on the verge of tears, laughing and occasionally have you question your reflexes. But in the end, it's all worth it for that satisfying da-da-da-da when you clear a level. Thankfully, this next game was without a level. Although we just couldn't catch a break with The Legend of Zelda, one minute you're having a peaceful night, the next you're getting telepathic messages from a princess sending you on a quest to save the world. The game is filled with an endless supply of dungeons, traps, and puzzles that will have you scratching your head. Unforgettable moments when you're down to 1 heart, and the nearest fairy fountain feels like it's in another dimension. The variety of stages is fantastic, and the boss battles are legendary. But the puzzle solving, it can get so complex that you might need a PhD in Zeldaology. And let's not forget about that time you accidentally attacked a chicken and ended up being swarmed by a whole flock. The highlight of our game was defeating Ganon, rescuing Zelda, and finally restoring peace to Hyrule. Just another day in the life of a hero. If there was a game that had us revving up our engines and feeling cool, it was Gran Turismo. It didn't just make our hearts skip a beat, it made the whole world feel like one big virtual racetrack. Remember the adrenaline rush we felt as we burned rubber through tracks? The excitement might have been mild, but the frustration was off the charts when a wrong turn sent us miles off course. And then the unending hours spent tuning our favorite cars, or the joy of finally conquering that one track? Those were the iconic days of chases and dreams of victory. Probably why the game has a moment of glory in the Guinness Book of World Records. Thanks to Gran Turismo, we had late-night gaming sessions with friends and heated debates over which car was the ultimate speed demon. It brought us together in ways we never imagined. Which video game was your favorite? Comment your response below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to watch this one.